Hey everybody, this is Chase Batiche. I'm back with a witchy bitch impromptu message for the week, which it's a question. It's a question message, which is, am I going crazy? Because I think that I've talked to a lot of people this week and there are some crazy planetary shifts that are happening right now. And I think I wanted to talk about it because we're going through a massive shift on this planet. And it's good to address it and to talk about ways in which we can handle it in order to channel it for our highest good and for the good of all. So there's two things that are happening. Tomorrow there's an eclipse, which a lunar eclipse, which eclipses full moon lunar eclipse. So we already have the full moon, which we know heightens emotions, but then you have an eclipse on top of it, which this will bring massive endings, an ending of some sort. So, and it can create something that can happen very quickly. So that you're like, oh, that was weird. And it also heightens the emotion. So it's the accumulation and the buildup of something, and it's finally its release. So we have that on the 10th in Cancer, which is a very emotional sign. And then we have on the 12th, the 2020 Saturn Pluto conjunction, which, okay, if you're not a big astrology person, it's not a big deal. I don't usually give messages or videos on astrology, but because this is such a imperative, pivotal time, I think that it's important. So Saturn Pluto conjunction means that this is only going to be happening. This happens once every about 37 years, and but never like this. Saturn Pluto conjunction. Saturn is the taskmaster. It's the lord of karma. It's an energy archetype. It's a planet, but it's also an energetic archetype. It's the archetype of discipline, structure, boundaries, work. And it is also called the lord of karma. It's the thing that we're meant to do in this life. It's the thing that we have to go through in order to evolve, okay? Pluto is the energy, combustible energy of evolution. Pluto is it rules death, it rules rebirth, it rules obsession, attachment, jealousy, unable to let go, and then also its complete opposite, the deepest and most profound release, which is such a profound release and such a profound letting go that it's an actual death, right? So, which is able to emerge. And so when we're kind of going to look at these, this is what's happening right now on planet Earth. This conjunction, these energies have been building and building and building, and they're going to hit their peak on the 12th. So when you mix that with the eclipse, it probably feels like you're going crazy. And I'm telling you, I'm living in Los Angeles, like right in the center of Los Angeles, and I'm telling you, I'm feeling some of these energies, and people are feeling a little bit crazy, all right? It's a little bit hectic out there. And so I want to just give you some tips on what you can do to try to be a little bit more grounded during this time so that you don't feel so overwhelmed by the insane energies all around. So one thing I would challenge you to do during this time is to really sit quietly with yourself and at your altar if you have one. If you don't, I can teach you how to create one. But a basic altar is sitting on the floor with a cushion, a table, and a candle, okay? Sitting quietly with the self and internally asking yourself, what am I truly ready to let go of? What is it in my life that is actually kind of dying, that actually kind of doesn't suit me, that doesn't fit the evolution of my own soul? Because we never stop growing, right? We never stop evolving. We never stop moving. We never stop shaking. And when we stay in things, situations, structures, jobs, relationships, whatever, that doesn't completely suit us, we are constricting ourselves. So this is the time right now where these energies of death and rebirth and also work, discipline, boundaries, they're coming together. So it's like putting a work ethic, a path of boundary towards the energy of death and rebirth. I actually have this same conjunction in my birth chart. So this is why I do the shadow work and why I'm constantly going to the deepest part, because that's what this energy does. It's about going to the deepest part of yourself and saying, what am I ready to let go of? What am I ready? What part of me is ready to die so that the new can emerge, so that the new can be birthed? So I want you to really sit with that question, okay? And don't be surprised as if during this time you are feeling immense pressure, like you're feeling like a buildup, like you're feeling like it could be a buildup of fear. You know, a lot of times for me, when I feel immense emotion, you know, as an empath, and I imagine if you are watching this, you probably are an empath. I like to say that empaths, we are like the air filters. We are like the emotional filters for the world. And so there's so much intense energy happening right now with the Australian fires, all the animals, the potential political issues with Iran, and there's this heightened energy of literally like of fire, transformation, death, rebirth, but also pressure, right? The pressure of climate change, the pressure of the idiocracy of Donald Trump, the pressure of all the corruption, and all of that coming up, and all of us having to view it. And what it's making us do is actually look at our own lives and say, okay, where in my life am I operating from a place that no longer suits me anymore? Because the things that are dying, coming up to the surface to be healed, like our outdated political structures that are based in a patriarchal structure, hierarchical structure, it's dissolving, right? It's in the midst of dissolving. And so don't be surprised if you're going to notice things in your life that are dissolving and that are kind of coming up to be combusted, to be come up. So what that results in is a kind of pressure. You're feeling this pressure, this change, this shift inside, but you don't actually know how it's going to actually change. You don't actually know how it's going to evolve. All you feel is this buildup. So one of the ways that you can deal with this energy, and what I would recommend, is to, if you can, sit at your altar and open yourself up to accessing the question within you and the deeper emotion within you that is, what is this pressure? What is this fear? And allowing yourself to go very, very, very deeply into that fear. So much so that you begin to communicate with spirit about the deepest fears and begin to expose the pain and the truth of yourself to the divine, so that you can actually begin to create an opening where you're exposing this truth and therefore you're releasing it and you're creating space for the new to emerge. Because what happens is we're holding all of this in, and we're holding all this in, and it has to, the way that the shadow, the way that emotional evolution, the way that evolution works, is that I truly believe it happens through our emotional body, okay? And as the divine feminine on this planet emerges and rises, all of us are becoming more sensitized. And that means actually opening up to the truth of whatever it is that we are feeling. And when we've lived in a world that has pushed and promoted that we actually only make decisions based on our mind, based on rationality, based on shoulds, on what everybody else is doing, on what is acceptable, we dismiss the truth of what we actually feel. And we are constantly in a state of not honoring the internal truth, the internal state, the internal wounding, right? The internal feeling. And what we're doing is we're shutting ourselves away from that truth, and we're saying, you're not worth it. You're actually not worth this feeling. You should be like this. So during this time of intense, pivotal, and emergent energy, I would ask you all to sit at your altar, sit with yourself. If you don't have an altar, just sit quietly with yourself and go into the deeper feelings, those deeper, crazy feelings that you've been feeling, which are probably a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty. You could be feeling kind of manic. You could be feeling super hyper. Sit it down and go inward. Ask yourself the question, what is this really about? Simply asking yourself that question is giving your own consciousness witness to what is truly going on with you, which is what is in your shadow, which is what is underground. When we start exposing that part, the truth of our own soul and our own evolution is actually able to move. Because when we ask ourselves what this is really about, for me, the way that it happens is I'll ask myself what something is really about. And in that moment, I will open up to the truth. And the truth a lot of times is not pretty. It's like, I feel desperate. I feel worthless. I feel exhausted. I feel so scared. Opening up to that truth and giving yourself over to this force of love, giving yourself to spirit, believing that there is somebody, something, a force that is witnessing you in this, you can begin to offer this pain to a force that is higher than yourself. And you can begin to allow yourself to feel that and allow it to be moved through you. Because what happens is when we actually feel our emotions, what happens is they move. They actually move through our bodies. They carry, it's like water. It actually comes out of our face. It's like the ocean, right? It moves. And what we do is we create space for something new. When we're constantly holding on to all these emotions that we don't want to face, or we don't know how to face, or we feel numb, what we're doing is we're keeping ourselves locked in this space of constant stress, anxiety, and numbness. When we start opening ourselves up to feeling that truth, no matter how inconvenient it may be and how much we do not want to feel it, what we start doing is we start opening ourselves up to change. And we actually open ourselves up to the deepest evolution that our soul is craving on the most fundamental level. And this is how we are going to resensitize the world ourselves and begin to create more of an empathic, feminine world and culture. So this would be my piece of advice for handling these massive changes, evolutionary changes that we are going through. This is how I have been handling it, because I've been feeling crazy too. And man, if I don't sit at my altar and like seriously go deep within myself and really pray and get real with how I'm feeling, I will remain in that state of hyper kind of manic, where I'm like on my phone all the time and just doing one thing or another. I have so much to do, and there's so much happening in the world, and I feel crazy. And I have to sit down, calm myself, and talk to spirit, talk to the divine about what is actually going on, which means turning to face the thing that I have been running from. This is the path of the spiritual warrior. This is true shadow empowerment work. And this is what I would challenge you all to do during this time. If you need any guidance or assistance, feel free to contact me. That's what I am here for. We're here together, creating a more empathic, empowered, feminine world together. So much love to you during these transits, these evolutionary times. You know, the world is made up of our own personal consciousness. And the work we do with ourselves is the work that will begin to affect the whole. And that is truly why I do the work that I do, because I care about this planet. I care about the animals. I care about the plants. I care about you. I care about the souls of everyone on this planet. And if we start doing this work for ourselves, we empower, enliven, and recalibrate the energy so that we can sensitize a culture that has become so numb. So much love to you all. Deep, deep, deep blessings. I'm here for you if you need me. And yes, just ride this wave. Go deep. Face the things that you don't want to see. Feel them. I love you. Bye.